Today I'm going to review the GoPro Hero 5 Black. And I'm going to try to sound like a radio... No, I'm not. I'm just going to talk in my regular voice. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to review the GoPro Hero 5 Black. I'm not going to get too technical. I'm just going to talk regular language and hopefully you can understand it. Okay, I had been wanting a GoPro for quite a while, and I heard a lot of good things about them. So I finally got a good deal on a GoPro Hero 5 Black, and I have watched a lot of YouTube videos and YouTubers out there, you know, talk a lot about just about every specific detail about this camera, except for one. And I'm going to start off by talking about that one specific detail that I haven't heard any of them cover, and then I'll talk about the others that they have covered. Okay, first I want to talk about the negatives or the cons, the things that I find not so great in the camera, which by the way I'm recording on right now. Okay, the GoPro Hero 5 Black, or any of the GoPro Heroes, you can look this up, you can even Google it. Well, the thing is, you have to have a file system, you know, on your storage device. In this case, everything is going to be stored to a micro SD card, and which by the way, they recommend, and definitely so. You can't cheap out on the micro SD card. They're not all that expensive anyway, but you need a class 10 micro SD card, because the bit rate of 4K, you know, is at a decent speed, and you don't want to get a generic card, or it's just going to lock up, freeze up on you. It may delete the file. You might not get your recording. So, that being said, guys, get at least a class 10 micro SD card. Okay, back to talking about the file storage system on those cards. It's a piece of software, and in this instance it's called FAT, File Allocation Table. And a lot of you computer people will recognize that terminology right off the bat, because it's been around since, you know, the 90s. And, you know, it's been used on hard drives, you know, thumb drives, flash drives now, micro SD cards. It's been used on a lot of things, but it's an old, pretty old file system, and which means it's also compatible with more of the devices out there. But it has, I believe, a 4.3 gig limitation. So simply, what that means is, let's see, I think if you're recording in 4K, that once you get to about roughly 9 minutes of video, it's going to cut, instead of one file, it's going to cut the file into two pieces. Whatever your resolution is, or the quality you're recording in, it will record up to 4.3 gigabytes. Then it will cut that file into two pieces. If you record 4 more gigs, it'll be in 3 pieces, and 4 pieces, so forth and so on. I am recording in my favorite resolution for YouTube right now, and frame rate is 1080p by 60 frames a second. So I believe I can get roughly around in between 16 and 18 minutes before, you know, it runs into that 4.3 gigabyte limitation limit. And a lot of people aren't going to watch videos over that length anyway. And unless you're really talented, or hanging from a ceiling, or bungee jumping, it's hard to keep people's attention. But anyways, that is one of the things I wanted to tell you, how it splits up the files. And, you know, a lot of people don't know that, so now you do. And secondly, it's not a big deal because, well, not to me, because the free software that it comes with, or, you know, a bunch of third-party apps that are free when you're editing these videos, it will put those videos, I mean, it doesn't lose any frames. You can put them back into one video as you're editing, and you don't lose any of your video. So, you know, when you do transfer them over to a modern device that has like NTFS, you know, whatever file system that you have that's newer, you know, you can stitch those or splice, whatever wording you want to use, those videos back together as one without losing any frames. So, it's not too big of a deal, but it's something that I just wanted you to know. Now, one of the second bad things, number 2, is the voice command features. A lot of people like this, and I still like it, but I have found, as of the latest firmware, which is like 2.61, I believe, it seems not to recognize the word GoPro record or GoPro stop recording. What I find that it's recognizing is the word record. So I can accidentally say the word record, or somebody could be talking in the background and saying, "Are you recording?" And you know, that could start or stop the video, which is a little bit annoying. I don't know what you guys think, but have you guys had similar experiences? I mean, if you have, you know, let me know. So yeah, that's number 2. Number 3. Okay, the third negative thing about the GoPro camera, it's simple. It's this. As of the GoPro Hero 5 Black, which is what I'm reviewing right now, it's an action camera, and it's made to pick up action. And I totally understand that now. I didn't at first. Meaning that this camera doesn't really have a built-in zoom feature, believe it or not. Like on your iPhone or Android device or your really expensive cameras, that you can just zoom in on videos and zoom out on the camera. You can't really do that on a GoPro, at least up until the Hero 5, you cannot do that. Now, most people are going to argue that it does have a thing called field of view, which you can choose it to narrow, and it will zoom in a little bit. And that is true. It will zoom in just a little bit, but it's not like you can adjust the zoom back and forth like on a regular camera. And then, you know, all of the people would also argue that you can after post-production, you can zoom in the video while you're editing in a third-party app. That is true, but if you're going to do it that way, you want to record at a higher resolution. That way when you zoom in, you will have that better quality video, and it doesn't have any jaggies or blurriness or anything like that. So in the end, it will take up more space. So there are those software ways around zooming in, but I just hope, like, maybe in the future GoPro will, you know, add the zoom feature to the GoPro camera. And I can see why they haven't, because it's an action camera, and if you're constantly on the move, you know, action, then you really shouldn't need a zoom feature. But I think a lot of people are starting to use the GoPros as their main camera, you know, to record everything. So I think for those people, even if it makes the price go up just a little bit, they should add those zoom features. Was that number 4 or number 5? I think that was number 4. Or 3. I don't know. I'm losing count here. Well, anyways, the next negative thing about the GoPro Hero 5 Black is the battery life. These things are made with all these bells and whistles like GPS tagging, the electronic image stabilizer, which I'll get to that, by the way. Low light. You know, all of these features, when they're turned on, or in the recording in the higher resolution, is just going to eat the battery life faster. So depending on what setting you have it on, it's going to eat the battery life. I mean, if you have it like on 4K and you know everything turned on, then you know you might barely get over an hour. And then if you have everything completely turned off, which I don't suggest, you know, you and a crappy resolution, then you know you might be able to squeeze almost 2 hours out of this thing. So I think they should make the battery a little better in these GoPros. Now let's tell some positive things about these GoPros, okay? For what they are, I love the size. These little things are tiny. And you know, that's great because you can shoot them about video just about anywhere. You can put these things on drones. You can put them on RC cars. You can put them on submersible, like RC submarines or boats, because I mean, of their sheer size. I mean, they're light, and that is the number one thing. Number two, which really should have been number one, is the electronic image stabilizer. While others have hardware to control the shakiness of the camera, this is a bit of software that controls the shakiness in the camera. So it's not perfect. I would say it crops just a little bit of the image off, which is really unnoticeable to me anyway. But what it does is, say if you're walking and you know how you walk like this, and the camera is going to have that going on with the video, it greatly reduces, I would say about 90%, or if not more, and it makes that video usable. So if you're in an airplane, if you fly airplanes for a hobby, or if you're mounting one of these to a drone, your video quality is going to be greatly improved with the EIS, the electronic image stabilizer, and that is in the Hero 5 family and above, and that's a great thing that they added. I mean, I use that a lot, so thank you GoPro for that. Number three, another step in the right direction, I think, is GoPro, instead of having this case and that case and this case and a generic case and the name brand case, the GoPros are now waterproof right out of the box. I mean, they can be submerged up to 33 feet of water, and that's just awesome. I mean, that's why they call it the action cam. It's always where all the action is. So, you know, if you're going on vacation to a beach or you're in a swimming pool, you can take those, you know, family photos. If you're diving, now also keep in mind, if you're diving, I said these things about cases, but you can get an official case to where if you're diving, you can get a case to where you can go farther down than 33 feet. But out of the box, it's rated for 33 feet. And, you know, using this, you know, when you're diving, that's another awesome thing about this camera. You know, you can basically almost take it anywhere. Alright, number 4. The LCD on the back is a 2-inch LCD, and it's basically the whole length of the camera. I mean, this camera is probably about 2 inches, but that LCD is very responsive to your touch. Also, the best thing I can say about it is you can see it in the daylight. I mean, it's a good quality LCD touch panel on the back of this camera. So, I mean, I applaud, you know, GoPro for doing that. And I'm trying to think here, but okay, number 5. Okay, the number 5 positive thing about the GoPro Hero 5 Black is Now, a lot of people will say this is the bad thing, but I think it's a good thing. You see, the stereo sound, everything before the 5 series of the GoPros were like in monotone sound, which this is in stereo now. But a lot of people complain that it picks up a lot of wind noise. But also starting with the GoPro Hero 5 series and above, you can hook up an external microphone. Yeah, you can add that, and one of the big fancy microphones you see with like looks like it has a mop over it or whatever, a fluffy mop, like all those feather looking things that cancel out the wind. You can carry one of those around and hook it to your GoPro if you want and cancel out all the noise. Well, I know I'm only supposed to have 5 on here, but I'm going to say another awesome thing is it has a 12 megapixel sensor in this, so the pictures are really great, and the color profile that the people at GoPro use and put into these cameras are more accurate and correct, I believe, than some of the other cameras out there. Really love the color profiles. So I don't want to make this video too long, because a lot of people have covered this too, but I just wanted to give you my outtake on it. And in the end, I would definitely say, get a GoPro. Don't go for the little generic cameras, because you're going to get what you pay for ultimately. The only other secondary recommendation I can give is called the YI cameras, if you're going to go generic, because those actually have a Sony lens. And, they're not so bad. So remember, in my opinion, if you're going to go generic, get a YI. But I recommend the GoPro. So until next time, guys, have fun with your cameras, and I'll see you later.